How we doing? This will be my first video for me doing food delivery. So my name is Tim, and I'll just be my headline on there, which as you can see is Old Man Gig. It's just a nickname. Everybody just calls me an old man, so we'll just go Old Man Gig. We do food delivery here in Boone, North Carolina, which is a small little mountain community here in the Appalachians in Boone, North Carolina. I've seen various other videos of people talking, and I've gotten some helpful hints and tips, things like that. But then I see some other things that I just completely do not agree with, and I see certain things get perpetuated and continue out there, and I see it as a bad trend and as a bad thing. So I just want to bring a different perspective and maybe give you something to think about and look at. And now that you've seen me, I'm going to flip the camera around. I do a morning to lunch. It's 11:30-ish right now, and I'm doing a short, not really short, a 6 mile, about a 6 mile, was 6 mile, now it's about 4 miles, drop off that's going out, and it's a little scenic. So I thought this would be an opportune time to give you a little chance to see some of the scenery out here in Boone, North Carolina. Even though it's wintertime, it's not as green and as beautiful as it usually is, but you can see. And we'll be going across a little creek there, over a bridge. This is just a rural mountain food delivery. So here we go, and as the video's rolling and I'll have it going toward the road, I'll talk a little bit about one of my biggest ones that I find completely wrong that people look at and look into. So there we go. Okay, now we got that video flipped around, and we'll just go through and do a little mountain delivery, mountain driving for somebody's food order. I've done these people several times, breakfast, lunch, so it's a nice little drive. But to get back on topic, and the point I wanted to make was, I always hear people talk about this, ratio of dollar per mile, of acceptance and not accepting orders. Let me turn down the GPS. And I think it's completely wrong. To an extent, and some people do use the caveat that on that dollar per mile, you got to take in time of how far, where is it going, the area you're going into. If you want to take a look at my market area, we're just one little market. The nearest market, if I wanted to go and do food delivery in another market, whether that be on DoorDash or whatever it may be, I'd have to go 25, 30 miles from my town to get into another market area. So that's kind of like limits where I'm at. Evidently they got some road work going on here. Looks like, you never know, they just start doing it. But so going back to that dollar per mile, my biggest thing on that dollar per mile is, why do you want to add or take into account on that dollar per mile your tip that you're receiving, the gratuity? That gratuity is for you, and it should be separate and not something to put together with what you're going to be doing. So if you're going to be doing a 4 mile delivery, your base really, to me, in my opinion, should be at least $3.50 to $4, and so that way that $2 or $3 to $4 tip that you're getting on top of that is actually your tip, not a tip to help pay for mileage. That's why I don't very rarely do long runs. This one I do because these people tip very good. This order I'm running right now here is 7 miles. It's taking me out of the area, but it's a $20 food delivery every time I come out. And it's only for one person, and it's $20 because they know they're way out in the middle of nowhere, and so they pay accordingly. And I have no problem bringing them their order and taking the time to do it.
Take the next right onto Broadstone Road,
because they're grateful for it. and I'm grateful for them for giving the tip. So it works beneficial to both of us. But that dollar per mile, it does not work out. Number one, like I'm saying, here in the rural area, 3 miles from the city of Boone and you going out 3 miles, it can take you 15 minutes to do that 3 miles, not because of traffic, because of mountain driving, windy roads. And so that's taking you a half hour, that's 30 minutes. And you're going, oh, $1 per mile, even if you gotten $6, it's taking you a half hour out of the area. Now, how long did it take you to get that order? Did you have to wait? A lot of times, you may have to wait 3 or 4 minutes, sometimes 5. So let's say you waited 5 minutes. Now you're driving 35 miles for a $6.25, $6.50 order, thinking you might get a hidden tip, when actually they did give you a $4 tip, but now you just put that tip money going towards your mileage, and it shouldn't be that way. Oh, looks like we lost GPS, which happens out here quite often. So that's kind of what I'm getting at on that. So, I mean, I'm sure if you like, give me a comment. Tell me where I'm wrong. Tell me where I'm right. Think about it. Should you be including that tip for that dollar per mile ratio that you are looking to get? I don't think you should. I think it's wrong if you do. Okay, should be right here on Old Ford Road. I'm gonna have to stop here for a second and punch into my regular navigation because the cell phone navigation is not going to work. And here we are, we're coming up on that little creek that I'm talking about that we'll be going across here in a second. So, that's kind of some of the things that I want to talk about, is some of these things that, people perpetuate and they say all the time. And that's 10-year-old information since when gig work started 10, 12 years ago. That dollar to mile, the dollar to a mile, that was old. That's old school. That's old. You got to rethink that. You really do, because it's not beneficial to you. All right, got my GPS going. So let's get on finishing up doing this delivery.
You will arrive at your destination on the right-hand side after 1/2 mile.
Now, we're going to have to deal with my GPS. I'll turn it down. But here we're going. We're going across this river. This is nice. This is an area like right here. There's someone able to build a little dock. It's going to be a little bumpy, but yeah, these are one of these deliveries that you don't do in the winter. Like a couple weeks back when we had that 2 feet of snow. Yeah, but those people know, and they know better than to try to order, and they just know. So they didn't order. So, but you get some people that come up here, and they come up from different areas like Florida or whatever, because they want to stay up in the mountains, be close to the ski resorts. There's several ski resorts in the area. And they're like, I don't want to, let's just order some food to have it delivered to us. Well, you know what? They're living in a rural cabin up in the mountains on a dirt road. This is dirt road that's just been iced over and got 2 feet of snow on it. And they think someone's going to come out there and drive and deliver them their food because they gave a $6 tip. That's crazy. So I'll just let you guys take some of the scenics in. This is actually where we're dropping off at, is actually a rock climbing outfitting company. where they custom make
You'll arrive at your destination
people
on the right-hand side
rock
after
climbing
1
gear
half
and
feet.
climbing gear, and yeah, it's pretty cool. It's called Misty. It was at Misty Mountain. Innovative climbing equipment.
You have reached your destination on the right-hand side.
So we'll go ahead and mask up and go on inside and get this delivery done. I'm gonna have this pause for a minute. All right, so we got that delivery done. It was right upstairs, real easy. People are really nice and laid back here. They order all the time, like I said. I mean, they're kind of out of the way, and they know that, but they don't have the time. It take them 20 minutes to get into any place to get food. So it's 20 minutes there, wait in the drive-through line, get their food, and then 20 minute drive back. There's their lunch hour. So they at work, have their food delivered most of the time, and, and they pay a little bit more for it, but that's what they're willing to do, and they do pay. So, like I said, this was 7 miles from actually 6 miles from the restaurant to here. Now it's 6 miles back into town to the restaurant. That's 12 miles. Yeah, the base on this was probably is only going to be I can't bring it up because I have no internet connection. But if I remember correctly, it's either $5.75 or $6 because of the rule, because it takes you way out of the area as a base. And like I said, they give a $15 tip. So, yes, it didn't pay exactly 1-to-1 on my mileage there and the return, but they gave a big enough tip to where it makes it worthwhile. Now, if they had only given a $3 tip and this would have been a $9 or a $10 order, I wouldn't be doing this. I wouldn't have done their food. Somebody else would have had to, because that makes no sense when I can stay in town, do 2 little short spurts, a 1.5 miles to 2 miles, where DoorDash is paying me the $2.25 on the base, and I'll do up to 2 miles on that $2.25 base, and plus the customer's leaving a $3 to a $4 tip. Yeah, I'll take them $5.25, $6.25 orders, and I can do 2 or 3 of them by the time it takes me to do this one. So, that's my perspective. That's the way I look at it. I'm sure that other people see it wrong, see it differently, and I get that, and I understand that. Like I said, this is rural. It's a little bit different. Our miles, it's country miles, and when I mean country miles, it's country miles. So we're heading back into town. So for right now, I think I'm going to end that. This is going to be my first video. I want to do more, but I just wanted to give you a little introduction, show you a little bit of the area, and I don't think I want to do a lot of ride-along video type of things. I want to be able to voice myself and maybe do a little bit of both in a mix. I'm not sure. If you like what you see so far, give me a like, give me a subscribe, whatever. But I'll try to put out at least 2 to 3 videos a week. I'm not going to promise I can do that on a daily basis. Just doing food delivery isn't my only gig. I have other gigs I do, other work. I deal in antiques and collectibles, and I have to as well get around and replenish my booths and my little shop areas, store areas, and things like that. So that's the thing at the time. But so if you like what you've seen, if you don't like what I had to say, put your comments down there. Let's have a discussion, because I really think that is something that really needs to be thought about, because that's old. It's archaic. It's 10 years old thinking. You know, we're devaluing ourselves. DoorDash knows this dollar per mile, because everybody out there with videos promotes and says dollar per mile. And DoorDash says, okay, fine, you want $1 per mile? We'll give you $1 per mile. Now quit declining these low, and then you want to complain about low ball orders, not paying enough per mile, saying I'm not going to do these for $4 or whatever. Well, you said you wanted $1 per mile. Well, that's what I'm saying. Sometimes we shoot ourselves in the foot. So we need to demand more. If we want to get more, we need to demand more. They're not going to give it free and willy and nilly. You got to ask for it. So I'm going to read your comments, see what everybody has to say, think, and we'll go from there. So once again, signing off for right now. This is Tim, Old Man Gig. You all have a good one. Peace.